call the meeting to order. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey. Fournier.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Kropp.
Here.
Menser.
Here.
Voorhees.
Here.
Okay, we'll move on to announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. This evening we will have a presentation on a proposal by Advancing Macomb, and I'll turn it over first to Mr. Johnson, and you can give a better introduction. And
We provided a copy in the packet, and I'd just like to introduce Diane Banks, who is going to speak to it and answer any questions.
Good evening, City Commission, Mayor Kropp. My name is Diane Banks. I'm the Executive Director of Advancing Macomb. We are a local 501c3 organization whose mission is to strengthen Macomb County by connecting community challenges with high-impact solutions. We've done quite a bit of work with some of the community partners here and the city on finding resources to strengthen community partners, community organizations, find funding for projects, including the Play Fountain project at Shadyside Park that we're excited to have the construction begin this summer. But we've also been working with a lot of community partners in Mount Clemens on recreation and opportunities for youth and families. So the presentation and the proposal that I shared with all of you was for a new initiative called Breaking Barriers to Play. And this is an innovative approach to helping communities find low-cost solutions to recreation programming by using resources that already exist in our communities. Advancing Macomb is a small but mighty organization. We act as an administrative backbone. So we're an anchor organization to support these initiatives. We help to find resources, build collaboration, facilitate discussions and projects. And we started with the Sportport program. I know I talked a little bit to all of you during the CDBG allocation meeting about the success we had with our Sportport program, and that was really just the start. When we received the funding through the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan, Mount Clemens was chosen as a pilot program to try to find some low-cost solutions for recreation programming, because we know the importance of access to recreation programming. A lot of youth sports opportunities have gotten out of the reach out of a lot of families, and we're seeing in some of our smaller communities that recreation is one of the first programs to get cut from municipal budgets. And having those in-town leagues are really important. I'm sure all of you can think back in your childhood, the importance of in-town recreation, bringing kids together, having those low-cost opportunities, pickup games. The whole premise behind sport and recreation has gotten a little bit out of hand and out of reach for a lot of those families. So that's the intention behind this Breaking Barriers to Play coalition. I included some information from actually it was a national report done by the Aspen Institute about the importance of recreation programming. And in there they included some data about the amount of hours that youth on average get in sports and recreation, just physical activity, and how really dismal it is. And the effect that that has, obviously on family quality of life, but also on community quality of life as well. And the more money that communities are able to put into recreation, the more they see back in improvements of not only quality of life, but also improvements in property values as well. So there is a direct relationship there for recreation. It is an important part of our communities, but we know there is a cost associated with that as well. So if you're ever interested in finding out a little bit more about that report, you can visit the Aspen Institute or Project Play for Southeast Michigan to find out there a little bit more. But through that report, they found 8 plays that can really make a big difference when it comes to bringing back recreation, having access to recreation, getting kids and families active again. And those 8 plays are ask kids what they want, reintroduce free play, encourage sports sampling, revitalize in-town leagues, think small, design for development, train all coaches, and emphasize prevention. And all those 8 plays are factored into the Breaking Barriers to Play Coalition initiative. This is an expansion of the Sportport program. The Sportport program provided sports equipment and a lending library, so youth and their families could check out equipment. Initially, we had planned on 3 locations, but lots of factors limited that, including COVID. So the sports equipment now is at the Kearns Community Center. It's still available for youth and families to check out, but also even coaches, youth ministers, parents who just want to have some pickup games in the backyard can rent that equipment. But we need more than just equipment. So it's great if a kid can get a baseball glove and a baseball, and it might be the first exposure they've had to that sport. But if there's not additional programming around that, nobody to teach the fundamentals of the game or how to use that equipment and get them interested in what the next opportunity might be, then it's a limited opportunity. It's still a great program to have that equipment available and still something that could be used at the library system. But we are really looking for what the next step is, and that was the intention with the Sportport program from the beginning, was to say, how can we take this small pilot program and expand it into something that's really going to make a difference in communities that are struggling with finding the resources to start recreation. So the Breaking Barriers to Play Coalition, Advancing Macomb is just the administrative backbone for this coalition. What we're really doing is tapping into the resources that already exist here in Mount Clemens. And that's through some of our community partners, some of the youth sports organizations, the municipalities, the churches. There's so many resources that exist. It's just a matter of coordinating it together and finding the right structure that will allow more programming opportunities for kids right here in their own community instead of having to go somewhere else to play sports. And an important part of that is that sports sampling and free play. We just want to make recreation fun. And for a lot of kids, that doesn't mean, signing up for a local travel soccer team or a local football team. It's just going out to the park and playing, tag or playground games or kickball. And a lot of those things get out of touch when we start bringing new sports leagues into our communities. So going back to the basics of recreation and using those organizations that already exist here. We're also looking at involving multiple municipalities to help lower the cost. So we've been talking with the City of Fraser, Mount Clemens, and Harrison Township, all smaller communities that have struggled with finding funding for recreation. The City of Fraser has passed the proposal that we sent to the city. So City of Fraser will be a partner in Breaking Barriers to Play. So we're going to start with a facility inventory to find out what facilities exist, and then starting with some of our youth sports partners, starting to actually start programming June 1st this summer. So we'll continue with that. We would love to have Mount Clemens as a partner as well. This was where Sportport was started. We've got some great community partners already here. There's organizations like MSU 4-H, the YMCA, Lake St. Clair Metro Park, First Tee of Greater Detroit, LK St. Clair. They're all super excited about this and interested because everybody's ready for something new and innovative to find a solution to recreation because they're all struggling with how to connect those resources. So the proposal I put together, I shared with you kind of the breakdown. Again, Advancing Macomb is simply acting as a conduit and an administrative backbone. All the programming will be done by local program partners already here. We're just helping to coordinate and promote those activities. So we have, like I said, those partners already there. We also have some philanthropic funding that we've already submitted grants for, and we've already made it through several rounds. So we're just waiting in the next few weeks to receive that funding. But we know that we can already start some programming starting in June 1st, just with the commitment from Fraser and some of our other corporate partners as well. Some of the, just for an example, some of the program offerings will be starting just this summer. Sports sampling, so just coming out and trying different sports. We have all this equipment from Sportport, so we can use it for sports sampling. Just having open time for free play. Fortunately, in the summer, we can do that at a local park. In the fall and winter, we'll have to look at some facilities where we can do that. We'll also, like I mentioned, MSU 4-H, but also Care for Southeast Michigan and other partners have great programming and resources around nutrition and parenting classes that we can offer as part of this program as well. That would be more like a referral type program for anyone participating in the program. We also have, like, as I mentioned, some of those other youth sports partners like LK St. Clair Soccer that are ready to go with some programming June 1st, so we can offer that. And kids will really have a choice of what they want to play. If they want to play, if they want to try soccer, if they want to try flag football or golf, we'll connect with those local partners so that they have a chance to try out the sport and see if it's something that they're interested in, just for exposure. As I mentioned, we have 3 communities that we're looking at right now, 40 weeks of programming. So our total estimated cost for the full program is $145,000. As I mentioned, we are seeking philanthropic support to help lower the cost for that, and there is a lot of interest from some of our philanthropic partners. I listed all of the services that the coalition will be providing. We're hoping for representation from someone from the city that can, be in communication with the coalition so that we know that we're really partners in this and making sure that we're working together on the programming and logistics. The request, the proposal fee for service that we're requesting is based on that full program amount and the cost sharing with the other communities. But we are asking the city for $22,750, and that reflects 15% of the total program cost. When you take away the CDBG allocation that you already chose to spend for this recreation program, that leaves $15,860, which equates to 98 cents per resident for a 40-week recreation program in the city of Mount Clemens. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Mayor Dem,
So
Commissioner Dempsey.
you're the administrative island, so you would need in each city someone that you would be working with to set up, I would imagine, the various programs that your other groups, for instance, let's say the Y, who wants to do a soccer, but they're going to need to go to one of the parks in the city. So what you're saying is they would have to work with somebody in the city to assure that the park is available and if they need striping and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a whole lot that we're asking because the Y, we're working with what the Y already has.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that facility inventory kind of comes in. We see what facilities exist, and then it's really the coalition that's developing the schedule and the logistics, but we just want to work alongside the city as a partner. We're not trying to, just create this without you knowing what's going on. So there's definitely communication. We also want to use your, help work with the city on promoting it so that residents can actually sign up through the recreation through Mount Clemens. They're not signing up through some third party. They have to go to the Y to schedule swimming, and they have to go to LK to schedule soccer, and they have to go to, they can go to the Mount Clemens website to sign up for it. So that's where we're working with the city. It's, the facility inventory, all that logistical stuff happens on that coalition level, but Advancing Macomb certainly helps with that as well.
So you're primarily an extension of the sport board
Exactly.
with some help,
Some programming.
programming in there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any questions about this? Okay,
All right, well, thank you.
thank
Appreciate
you.
your
I
time.
appreciate it. All right. Okay, we'll move on. Sorry, let me get back to my agenda. There we go. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt the agenda as printed.
Support.
Is there any questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crap.
Yes.
Menzer.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay, this is the portion of the meeting that we invite the public to address the commission. All that we ask is that you give us your full name and your residential address, and you abide by our 3-minute rule. We'll take comments and people that are in person first, and then we'll address the people on Zoom. Is there anyone in person who would like to address the commission?
Good afternoon again. My name is General McCants, 550 Plant River Drive. All right, spring has sprung. Me and my grandson was down the park the other day. Old man can still kind of get off a little shot every now and then. We down there for a few minutes and he said, "Hey, Papa, yeah, what's up?" He said, "I got to use the bathroom." I poured it down, so consequently we had to leave. There's no water fountain, right? Is there electricity down there? Nope, there's no water fountain and no light on the basketball court. Those 3 items. Did we handle that? Appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
General McCants, I just,
Is that
Shady Side, right?
Shady Side?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yes.
Good evening, my name is Jean Dixon, I live at 114 Meadow Street. I just wanted to address the condition. I appreciate all that you're doing for our community, but I just wanted to add, I appreciate Diane from Advancing Macomb, and I appreciate you for allowing them to come in and to do the things for our community. The sport was a great thing for our kids. Our kids, as you know, with school of choice, they go to so many other schools, they don't know the kids in their own area. So this has helped them come out and get to meet. We played kickball. Well, I watched them play kickball last summer, and that was a great opportunity. So those are great things for our children. And I'm about kids. I have no kids, but I'm about the kids. I worked in the school district for Mount Clemens for over 20-some years, so I'm about loving the children. The splash pad, there will be a meeting Wednesday on Zoom for Anton Art Center. It will be in person on Thursday at 6 p.m. and it's concerning the splash pad at Shadyside. We're excited about it, and if you have any comments, please come to Anton Art Center and voice your opinion. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one other thing. I forgot. I go over to Cairns too for sewing and for crocheting. And we walked in there Thursday for crocheting. The building was sparkling, clean, it was shiny, it smelled so good. I don't know if them guys get paid, but I appreciate them, and I hope the city can, whatever they need, help them out. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not a resident, but I completely forgot that I have a group of corporate volunteers from GM who are looking for some volunteer work in the next couple of weeks, and they're like, they want to know soon. So if you have any projects, especially outdoor, they're really looking for outdoor, but really anyone in the community that is looking for some volunteers, just let me know as soon as possible so that I can give them the details and make sure that we get a group out here.
Is there anyone else?
Carl Hay, 21 2nd Street. I just want to say thank you for entertaining Diane's lovely representation of breaking barriers. I just want to speak about Sport Court real quick, and that we have been innovative, and Mount Clemens has been one of the leaders in this program. So much so that they are now flying Tommy and myself, I'm not sure if you're going, to Washington, D.C. to be part of Project Place Summit 2022. Just because most of the meetings that we have with them, we're coming up with a lot of the ideas. We're also a lot of the criticisms on things that we're doing wrong. They're trying to recognize the work that we're doing, and they've been an amazing part. Top of that, I just want to say, after being here for so many years, I finally took my girls to the ice arena. So Fridays and Saturdays, they do have open skate. And people like me who can't skate, they got this little walker type thing so you don't fall up on your kids and look silly. Good.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission in person? Okay, how about on Zoom? Do we have anyone on Zoom? Okay, all right, we will move on then. Okay, and of course my agenda has to load. There we go. All right, we'll move on to administrative responses. None?
We have none tonight.
Okay, so then approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the special meeting minutes for March 2nd, 2022, along with the work session and city commission meeting minutes for March 7th, 2022.
Support.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crap.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to general business A, adopt the strategic plan. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. Following an online survey, 2 evening strategic planning meetings with the city commission and department heads and some of the public, and follow-up comments from commissioners and staff, our facilitator, Mr. Nate Geinzer, submitted a proposed strategic plan which was shared with commissioners and staff via email, and an opportunity to post further comments was provided. Following that, Mr. Geinzer has submitted the attached document for adoption. If commissioners are satisfied with the document as is, I recommend the motion below be adopted. If you feel that more work needs to be done before this is adopted, we can schedule an additional planning session.
I think Mr. Campbell mentioned to me on the side that he likes a lot of meetings.
Yes, I'd like about 5 more.
Okay.
We can do that.
I think it's a beautiful report and it needs to go through.
Well, then, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the strategic plan as submitted.
Support.
Okay, now we can discuss. Yes, Commissioner Menzer.
I just wondered how you intend to tie this document into the upcoming budget.
I've already done that.
Then explain how you're tying this document into the upcoming.
I went through this and identified the items that I thought had financial implications and did an estimate of what I thought it would require and included that in the proposed budget.
And so you gave that information to the department heads that help put together their department's budgets?
The department heads all have this information, yes.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments about the strategic plan? I, for one, thought that it was, I thought there were a lot of actionable items that will be measurable, and I feel like it's a little more concise than it has been in years past. So I was really happy to see that, and I was very impressed with our facilitator this year, so I'm hoping he's available next year.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
very good.
so well done with finding him. You get the credit.
And the mayor knows how many I went through.
Yeah, exactly, even though he was.
He was the 4th one that agreed to do it.
Yeah. So, well, I think it was a good choice, so. All right, with that, I'll call the roll, please. Oh, what? Yep, uh-huh.
So does this boil down to about 6 goals?
Yes, with the bullet points underneath are the objectives, right? Mhm.
Headings are the goals that
Yes, yep,
looking at trying to.
Yes.
yep. Mhm.
Thank you.
Which is about the same number we had last 6. Tried to keep it manageable. All right, go ahead, call the roll, please.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Agenda item 9B, purchases and payments of invoices.
I move to approve purchases and payment of invoices as presented.
Support.
Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Roll call, please.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Agenda item 10, consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, roll call, please.
Crop.
Yes.
Menzer.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey. Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
And we will move on to City Manager's Report. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. Let's start off with talking about grants. It's been almost a year since reported 3 Mount Clemens projects were selected by Congressman Andy Levin for funding consideration. Last week, we learned that 2 of them have been approved by Congress. This includes $750,000 for Phase 2 of the Art Space project and $480,000 for a joint recreation project with East Point. We'll get half of that amount, which will come to Mount Clemens for capital projects at the Carnes Center. New email address. All city employees and commissioners have new email addresses. All city emails now end with @mountclemens.gov instead of @cityofmountclemens.com. We've linked the URL change to the rebranding, but we really would have made this change anyway. The old address was improper for a governmental unit, as COM stands for commercial. It should only be used by a for-profit business. And the state has been actively encouraging municipalities to switch to .gov for security reasons. That's so people that when they type in the city's address knows that they're getting a secure address to a government entity. .gov addresses are actually issued by the Department of Homeland Security, and they actually vet you on it. It took us a couple weeks to get it approved. They made several phone calls. I made the application. They called and checked with the mayor. Make sure that we really were the city of Mount Clemens. Any email addressed with the old address is being redirected to the new one, so don't worry about getting email. However, what you had to go through tonight was setting up your PC to actually download the mail from the new address. So I think that's all taken care of for all of you now, so it shouldn't be a problem. It's also true that anyone who types in the old URL for our website will automatically be redirected to the new one. New business cards were printed a couple of months ago. We held back on distributing them until the new email address was functioning. They've now been distributed. I understand one of you has a problem with them. We'll be happy to change them and reprint them. Fire inspector, we're very close on that. We originally intended this to be a full-time employee, but when we posted the position, even though we had a lot of interest at one point, we received no applications. Our agreement with the firefighters union allows for the hiring of a contractor in this situation. Chief Shipman has found someone. He posted the position, made a lot of people aware that we were looking for a contractor to handle fire inspection services, and he found someone who's not only very well qualified, it's someone who he never expected to get a proposal from, that he's very, very happy about this, and we're working on a contract now. Housing Commission. I've appointed Thomas Barnes to the vacant seat on the Housing Commission, and he promises to be a very strong advocate for cleaning up Housing Commission properties. His term will expire January 31st of 27. COVID-19. Rates in Michigan have declined even more in the last 2 weeks. I actually printed the chart this time. Hospitalizations and deaths, which are on a separate chart, are continuing to decline as well. Worldwide, however, some areas are seeing increasing cases, and some experts are predicting another surge. But for the moment, things are looking fairly good here. And of course, everyone in Macomb County aged 5 or older is eligible to receive a COVID vaccine. Just visit Macomb County Vaccine Central at the link provided, and you can make a reservation to get a vaccine. And with that, we've got the future agendas for items that have already been scheduled.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Menzer.
I wondered if you could explain what the, when you talked about the grants, what the $240,000 will cover in capital projects for Carnes.
It's not specific. It doesn't have a specific list of projects. It's basically, we've got $240,000 that we can spend on Carnes, but it has to be capital. It cannot be used for programming or for operations.
Okay, because I want to remind you that the 160,000 for the parking lot is supposedly to be paid back by the schools.
Correct.
Okay. While we're.
Those bids were opened last week and actually came in considerably less than that amount.
Well, I'm sure the school will be happy about that.
The grant does say interior and exterior capital improvement, so I mean, it's only specific to that.
Okay, and you don't have any idea at this time what you're going to cover with that?
Not specifically.
Okay, that's interesting. We talked on the 22nd, and in your packet, in the city commission packet, and in your city manager report of the 22nd, we talked about an anchor partner responsible for scheduling and managing the buildings, most specifically Carnes. And we gave you, I believe, a directive to come up with some kind of lease or memo of understanding or contract with one entity who will be responsible for like opening and closing Carnes and bringing groups in to, to knit and sew and dance and play basketball. So I'm wondering where you are with negotiating a contract with one entity, whether it is Advancing Macomb or the YMCA or TCB or what entity, but I wondered where you're at with that.
Advancing Macomb and the Y are not willing to play that role.
Okay?
TCB is willing to play that role. The library might be. I've had one discussion with Brandon since he got back in that regard.
Okay, because there's a couple things that we have talked about that I just have some concerns about, is that one entity is responsible for the people going in and out and holds a certificate of liability insurance that covers all the groups, because right now we have groups in there with no liability insurance. So that, we talked about the fact that that is a concern and a liability for the city. So I think it's very important that we move forward very rapidly with a lease or a memo of understanding with one entity on a month-to-month basis. And additionally, Mr. Murray pointed out that that memo of understanding or lease has to have some kind of, benefit for the city for using municipal resources. I believe he said that the group must give something in return, and it would be as easy as will provide recreational, opportunities. So the other couple things that I was kind of, concerned about is, does a group that comes in and has physical activity need some kind of waiver of liability in case they get injured? When I was doing Zumba up at the ice arena, I had to sign forms that said if I'm clumsy and I fall down because I have absolutely no coordination and I break my leg, who is responsible for that? Because we have kids that run and jump and play and chase each other, and we have people of varying ages and abilities doing dancing. I'm wondering if a certificate of that they sign absolving the city of or holding us harmless is something that should be considered, and maybe that's a question for Mr. Murray. But the other thing that I was concerned with is, do we have somebody in that facility that has CPR first aid training? And if not, is that something that we should ask whoever the lease or memo of understanding holder is, whether it is TCB or the library, if that is something that we should have? And the third thing is, is, do these children need some kind of form that a parent fills out in case of an emergency? You know, they're playing basketball and one kid trips another and kid gets, you know, knocked on the head and, you know, is there an emergency contact form for these children who are, and the adults who are using this facility? So I think we really, really need to get a memo of understanding or a contract or a lease, however you want to call it, and we need to do that as quickly as possible because it's been a month now.
He's making notes. Are there any, is there any other questions?
And this is all assumption that they don't already have emergency forms filled out. And I understand with the waiver, my son went to a birthday party yesterday and they required a waiver that, you know, I won't hold them liable for if he had received injuries or anything like that. So I understand the waiver.
I think they're just good practices.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is,
I mean, that
to
any-
protect the city.
It protects the city, but it also could protect the group, whoever it is, whether it's the library or TCB or whoever. It helps protect that group. And if you have somebody that is CPR, first aid certified, like I said, you know, I trip on perfectly, you know, straight cement. Kids who run and jump and chase each other and adults who are doing line dancing, they, you know, they could trip, you know, is there an emergency, you know, number for somebody to call, you know? Well, if I fall and trip, I mean, who are you gonna call? Well, yeah, for me, I'd probably take 911, but some of these kids, you know, at least you wanna notify their parents or have the parent come, you know, get them if they've, you know, got a bloody nose or whatever. But I think we need to come up in very short order with a memo of understanding for one entity that oversees the activities at Carnes until you make some kind of overall decision with the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA or whatever umbrella group it is. And that could be done on a month-to-month basis, just as we did at Wilson.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to comment? Okay, we will move on to commissioner comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I'm jumping the gun here. I think we're on our second public participation. Thank you, my agenda is not coming up on my iPad. Okay, so this is our second opportunity for public participation. We'll go in person first and then on the Zoom. We ask that you abide by our 2-minute rule, full name and address this time. Whoever would like to approach the microphone.
Carl Hayes, 21 2nd Street. So I can't answer all of your questions. We do get contact information from every child that walks through the door. We get a parent's phone number so that we can contact in case of emergency. Glad you asked about the CPR training, because yes, we do have scheduled CPR, first aid, and AED training, which is the defibrillators, as well as for breaking barriers. All of the coaches and the referees will be required to be trained in all of these before they can become a coach or a ref for breaking barriers. So yes, all that stuff is on the table. We have talked about waivers. I'm not sure where we are at with that, but I do 100% agree with you on liability and making sure that things are put in position so that we understand who takes responsibility for what if there does happen to be an accident. I don't remember everything you said. I wasn't there. But I can recall what you asked that I can personally attest to.
Thank you.
No problem. Yes, ma'am.
That's for TCB, right? You're representing TCB?
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, as TCB, the CPR training, everything is through Sport Corps. The waiver, or the phone numbers and everything is through TCB. So,
Well, whether you get trained, you know, from our fire department, or you get trained from an agency, or you get trained from Advancing Macomb, the certificate is good for all, you know,
Right.
for whatever you do.
Yeah.
I just, you know, the safety of the children is kind of, you know, concerning.
Oh, 100%. That's why the things that you just brought up were actually built into breaking barriers which kind of gave us the idea and realization that there were some things that we needed to tie up and make sure we were adding to the activities we were doing at the center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time in person? Okay, seeing none. Anybody on Zoom? Okay, all right. We will go ahead and go to commissioner comments. Commissioner Dempsey.
Any comments?
All right, thank you. Commissioner Voorhees.
This is going to be the quiet end.
Yeah, okay.
Once
We'll take it.
Once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
All right. Excellent. Commissioner Menzer.
I just want to remind you that next week on the 29th, it is Vietnam Veterans Day. So if you see a veteran, first of all, welcome them home. And second, thank them for their service.
Okay. Commissioner Fournier.
I want to wish everyone a happy spring, and hopefully we can have a chance to get out there and clean up our city a little bit. And I did see the flowers starting to pop up today, so we're on our way.
Thank you. Commissioner Hammond.
I want to thank Diane and Advance Macomb for their proposal on breaking barriers to play, and also seeing that we're moving forward on the marijuana.
Great. Commissioner Campbell.
Yeah, 3 months from today, the days start getting shorter.
Stop.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of that,
Don't be a jerk.
and also, I'm finally glad that we're moving forward on the ordinance with regards to marijuana, so we can move on to more important things like code enforcement, which I will talk about next time. That's it, thank you.
All right, great. I want to thank Advancing Macomb and Diane Banks for the great presentation, and I would like to echo Commissioner Menzer. I think we are at the point of bringing forward not only breaking barriers to the agenda for a decision, but also recreation and an anchor partner. So I'm looking forward to voting on that and getting recreation moving. And I mean, it's spring, kids are ready to play. I mean, I think adults are too. We're all sick of it. So we need to be ready to get these things rolling. So yeah, I welcome that vote. I also am so excited and want to thank Congressman Levin's office for a year ago giving us the opportunities to submit 3 proposals for appropriations, formerly known as earmarks. We were able to receive 2, which is more than 90% of the communities within District 9. Soon to be District 10. So we're very lucky as a community to have received almost $1 million worth of earmarks appropriations. And so we're excited. Art Space is going to be a terrific development to bring affordable housing, but also be on the tax rolls. And that is such a unique program where they will be paying taxes, but also providing affordable housing for artists and creatives. It's an exciting time for Mount Clemens. Lots of things going on. I also want to talk about coffee talks. It's an opportunity to come and hear about current events, what the commission is doing, what we are doing. Of course, all of you are welcome to join me in those coffee talks. They will be for April 12th at 9:30 a.m. at John's Family Grill. April 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Black Cat Coffee Shop. And that is all that I have tonight.
Mayor,
Yep.
can I do just a redo?
Of course.
Carl, I'd like to tell you that we were down to Carnes when they had the strategic planning meeting. It's pristine. What a great building. And you guys do a great job of having it clean. It was perfect. So congratulations to you and your workers.
Well, and on that note, I'm going to take back a do-over as well. This week alone, they replaced blinds in that room that we were in. So those look wonderful. The floor, looks like they spit shined it, although that is definitely against COVID protocol, so they did not actually do that. But, you can see yourself in that reflection. And also, Paddles has now made an appearance on the wall, and Paddles, and thank you to Julie Sabo for her beautiful artwork of Paddles with a basketball. He looks like a Harlem Globetrotter. So it's really, we owe a lot to Carl and Tommy of all the work that they've put into Carnes to make it a really great place. So thank you guys. Okay, that's I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
With that, I move we adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Have a great night, everyone.